My name is Muñoz Joe. I'm a teacher and an artist. So imagine you come home from your working day and you want to finish your abstract painting that you have started a long time ago. But then, when you're nearly finished, all of a sudden, something magical happens by accident. When I was nearly finished with my abstract painting 8 years ago, my son, who was with me in my studio, threw a plate where I was mixing my color onto my abstract painting. He laughed, but I nearly cried. But when I took away the plate, I saw something like a face. So I continued painting a second eye. I continued the dots for the mouth. I gave him some lines for the hairs. And I continued the spirals that you see on this side, also on the other side. And I painted a heart for my son. So, this is how the first Muni was born. But why Muni? Muni was my nickname at elementary school. And I said to my son, we have to share this wonderful father and son collaboration with a larger community. So I posted it on social media. And the reactions were overwhelming. We got 10 likes. 8 likes more than I thought we would have. So I checked who gave us the likes. Among these people were some family members, some friends, and one person I didn't know. And that same person wrote me the same evening if she could use my new technique with her preschoolers in order to make a Mother's Day gift. And I said, yeah, why not? Go ahead. And some weeks later, I received this photo. Here you can see the first Munis ever painted by kids in school, where preschoolers have portrayed themselves as Munis. And still today, I receive several photos all about Luxembourg where kids portray themselves as Munis or created Munis. So I made a little selection that I wanted to share you now. But I want to tell you, I shared also this photo on social media. I said to my son once again, Munis at school. Oh, that sounds cool. And this time the reactions were on a whole nother level. I can now say that over the last 8 years, there are more than 250 teachers who have worked and spoke about my art on a regular basis. So, here you can see kids in action painting their mothers as a Mother's Day gift. What about this one? Some nice shopping bags. Or umbrellas for the rainy and the sunny days. There are really no limits to the creativity of these teachers. Munis with different skin types. And Father's Day gifts. So when we take a closer look at these Munis, we quickly see that they basically consist of simple mathematical shapes, like the circle for the head, the trapezoid for the body, the spirals for the arms, the dots for the eyes and the mouth, and the lines for the hairs. So the question arises, how do these kids manage to differ one Muni from another with only using these simple mathematical shapes? But first of all, let's have a look what I came up with when I was 5 years old. Perhaps the first Muni ever painted. You can see some circles, you can see some lines and some dots. And 26 years later, I painted one of the first Munis ever on an abstract background. Not really a big step up, not really a big improvement, but like I said, it was by accident. And this is what I came up with. So I managed to differ one Muni from another because I have acquired the artistic skills over the years. But how do these kids manage to differentiate one Muni from another with only using these simple mathematical shapes and some simple instructions? So the answer is quite simple. They use something that we call in the artistic world visual simplicity. That means making something that is difficult to create look easy to create. But I guarantee you it's not. Kids have this wonderful ability to take the essence of an idea and cook it down to the core. And the core in their case is the love to their dearest. It's because they know their loved ones so well that they manage to differ one Muni from another with some subtle characteristics that only they know. Let's have a look. Here you can clearly see different type of mothers with different hair types, different hair colors, the posture. So for me, this is very inspiring. And when we talk about inspiration, I'm used to inspire teachers and their students, but this time it was the other way around. There were teachers who have taken my idea, and they can do that without asking permission to do so. It's absolutely free of charge. It's all about inspiring people and being inspired. And they created something absolutely new, something that not even I have done before. It's like Georg Friedrich Händel, a famous composer, once said, "Learn all that is to learn and then choose your own path." That is what these teachers have done. They learned all the techniques and created out of these two-dimensional figures, three-dimensional Munis out of concrete, out of paper and glue, some sort of plastic, upcycling material, recycling material, even wood and wool for the hairs, and tissues, wires, cables, ropes, everything they find at home or at school, and even lanterns. So, isn't it wonderful to see that your ideas that you share can go around and come back to you in a new, unexpected, miraculous new way and motivates you to be creative once again? So I was motivated to be creative once again, and I created myself three-dimensional Munis in order to pay tribute to these wonderful artworks that these teachers have done. So this is what I came up with. So now we talked a lot about teachers, the students, inspiring people and being inspired. Now let's have a look behind the scenes where the magic happens.
Ich bin Sarah, ich bin 25 Jahre, ich arbeite seit 2 Jahren heute zu Volz an der Spielschule. Ich bin aktuell in Klasse mit 15 Kindern. Und wir machen ganz viel Kunst in der Klasse. Ich bin auf ihn gestoßen, das war echt zufällig, über die sozialen Medien, hauptsächlich auf Facebook. Du hast das dann eigentlich abgekommen und ich habe mir halt gedacht, dass das extrem flott wäre, auch weil ich als Spielschutz verschaffen. Also sind Munis, die hier malt, sind ja eigentlich ganz simpel, wenn ich vom Körperbau oder wie sie ausgeht. Auch man Gesicht, das ist ganz elementarisch, so ein Schlummel. Das ist auch ganz farbig, natürlich immer ganz gern, das strahlt eine gewisse Lebensfried aus. Orikant, weil du vielleicht nicht den Begabtesten im kreativen Bereich ist, kriegt aber hin, immunähnliche Menschen zu malen. Das heißt, sie haben aber ein gewisses Erfolgserlebnis. Das halt oft, wenn ein anderer Künstler möchte, dann ist das relativ schwer für sie. Und was beim Joey seiner Kunst extrem flott ist, du kannst einfach so viele verschiedene Domänen anwenden, du kannst so viele verschiedene Techniken anwenden, für mit den Kindern zu malen. Das Farbe spricht sie einfach an und das ist halt extrem schön. Ich denke, nicht wäre eine gute Sache, wenn mehr Klassen sich vielleicht drauf gehen, für das zu probieren, und auch für die Kinder, mehr das künstlerisch dann in dem Moment zu fördern.
So, thanks to Sarah and her students. Now let's have a look at one last painting. This painting was done by a 9-year-old girl in my class after some instructions. And I was blown away by this painting. And I shared it with a friend of mine, and I asked him what he thinks about it. And he was quite honest. He said, "Joe, look, this is a mess." And I said, "A mess? Please. Look at the use of colors. Look at the movement. You don't want to know to whom that heart belongs and who lives in that house. This is storytelling. It's breathtaking. It's creativity. And like Albert Einstein once said, creativity is intelligence having fun." And he answered, "No. So, okay, it was quite honest, and we had clearly different opinions on that, and it nearly ended in a fight. But I will tell you a bit later how the story ended. Returning to this painting, when I see this painting, for me, this is a gallery painting. But what gallery? We don't have galleries for kids showing their art. But we have 93,000 students in the year 2021, 2022, heading to public schools and making art on a regular basis. Can you imagine the enormous resources of art we have, but we don't see? Imagine, what if we have a reserved room in the National Art Museum, where every week another class could show their art, where they could be embraced by a larger community, where we could empower their valid art. I would like to see that, and hopefully you too. But now, let's talk a bit about that incident between my friend and me. So when I was nearly in a fight with my friend, I had to think about an interview between Jimmy Kimmel, a famous host, and Billie Eilish, a famous pop star. Jimmy Kimmel asked Billie Eilish about things that were there before she was born, and she always answered correctly. But then Jimmy Kimmel asked Billie Eilish if she could name a band member of the band Van Halen, a famous rock band from the 70s. And Billie Eilish answered, Van Halen, who? I don't know who that is. And that caused a huge controversy. But I mean, it was a huge drama for the fans from Van Halen. And some weeks later, the son of Eddie Van Halen, Wolfgang Van Halen, wrote something on Twitter that I will never forget. And I had to think about his words when I was nearly in a fight with my friend. He wrote something like, if you don't know Billie Eilish, go check her out. She's cool. And if you don't know Van Halen, go check them out. They're cool too. Music is supposed to bring us together, not to divide us. So go out, listen to the music you like, and don't shame others for don't knowing what you like. So I don't want to shame my friend for don't knowing what I like, so I said to him, look, you're right, this is an absolute mess. This painting is an absolute mess. But for me, it's a breathtaking mess. So we both agreed on that and had a couple of drinks where we talked about art and music. And so music, art has brought us back together. And after this talk, I will have a drink too. Thank you.